G'day everybody and welcome back to the Hardball Gets AFL show. Completely packed for work in the weekend. This podcast was brought to you by the new Mazda BT50 SP. It's the complete package. Today on the show, it's the 2-minute warning leading into the grand final. And if you've taken a massive hanger or kicked a wicked goal at community level, if you got it on video, head to streamer.com.au/screamer for your chance to win $3,000. All right, let's get stuck in. This is the Hardball Gets AFL show. My name's Nick Rinn, joined by Xavier Ellis and Chris Robinson. Gentlemen,
hey guys, nice use of wicked in the intro. Yeah. Wicked goal.
Yeah, I lost.
Wicked, let's get stuck in.
Wicked, it's not used that much anymore?
No, I don't mind it. No, it's not used ever.
I got stuck, and then that's the first thing that came to mind.
Is it used anymore? No, Wicked's not used very often. I don't mind it, though.
People don't use Wicked?
Nah,
Wicked.
Wouldn't have thought. Hey, what about my day?
We used Wicked back in the day? Where did it come from?
When I was surfing back in the day when I was in the tubes. But
were you in the green room?
Gnarly.
I could surf. I bought a surfboard when I came over here.
You at coastal town? Mate,
I live on the end of a surf cliff, like on the end of it.
Just paddle in.
And bought a surfboard when I came over here, and it did not touch water. I haven't touched water. A shark attack happened, and I was like, that's not for me.
Is it still there in your shed?
One night, this is true, and I don't condone doing this, but I just had a shoulder off, and I was watching the surfing on TV, so I got the surfboard out and put it on the couch and surfed it on the couch. That's true.
And that's the most use it's
in
ever
got. In a full
got.
wetsuit, yeah, couch. Yeah, that's
was there
the full
anyone else
use.
there? Was this for anyone's benefit?
No, Em came out and took a shot. What are you doing? As I'm like riding something in a sling. Yeah, I was pretending I was on the wave that I was watching. Jeez. Yeah, no, that was a different world I was in that day. And look at the shoulder now; it works perfectly.
Yeah, just falling apart.
Did you know? A quick one off the top. Did you know a dog has 3 eyelids?
Did not know that. What?
Mm-hmm.
Like top, bottom, and
one like inside. Because I'm going to the vet after this because it's my one's stuck.
It
won't retract.
What do you mean? Like 2 on the inside?
There's like one on the inside
side?
or something. So like the eyes closed, obviously north south, and then there's one that like a windscreen wiper. It pops in and pops out, but this one's not popping back in.
It's just popped.
I'm telling you, I'm off to the vet straight after this. The flying Tildo, her 3rd eyelid won't retract. Have a look at the poor doll.
Oh, jeez. She's struggling.
Aww.
Yeah. Nah, she's as happy as Larry. I mean, we adopted her, mate. She can't have blessings. No one eye, no eyes. She's lucky.
Yeah, we.
Anyway.
Righto, on that note.
And then I've got to sit waiting for the dishwasher man for 5 hours.
You're having a good day.
But enough about my day.
Oh.
How wicked was the Brownlow last night?
It was wicked.
It's a wicked finish.
Good. Yeah, it was great. Needed Lockie Neal to win, and I need Andy Brayshaw to finish top 3, second and 4th.
Wow.
Lockie Neal almost pinched it.
Yeah, that's a bullshit vote, that last one.
With one vote in the last game, they were down. They lost by 58. They were down by 66 at half time.
Yeah.
Like they were never in it.
Well, that's what he did. He said, I don't poll anymore.
That was an outrageous vote.
Yeah, it wasn't like he kind of kept him in it for a half and then it fell away. They got smoked from the get go.
But nowhere near as outrageous as the Brodie Myercheck vote.
Queen's birthday.
Remember all the outcry about Mason Cox not winning the medal? Clary had 45 or whatever. And then Brodie Myercheck sweeps on him with the 3.
Don't mind me, guys.
Yeah, we touched on a few of these briefly before we went on air. The Zach Bailey got me. Like the 20 disposals and 6 goals against Gold Coast.
Do you remember who got the 3?
They finished 2. Jared Lyons. He just had 30 something.
Just cruise around.
Just cruise around in the midfield.
Yeah.
Did Jared Lyons sort of stuff and. Meanwhile, Zach Bailey's absolutely destroying it.
Well, there was another one because Carl Amon got the most votes for Port Adelaide.
I've got a little something on Carl Amon when we get to Port Adelaide.
Right.
Yeah.
But there was a game for Rosie to go over the top, and he'd had kicked 4 goals too, had 27 or whatever it was, and Pel Pepper got the votes with.
Pel Pepper polled pretty well. Yeah.
He had a good year.
Yeah.
He did have a good year.
That's the thing I love is in the last rounds of a tight count where someone can have the best game of their career, get 3 votes, and everyone's like, boo.
Oh, yeah.
David Swallow sitting there who took Miller. But he gets to 3 in the last round, just looks shattered.
But Gill always races through in the last round, the non-significant games before he gets to the thing. But they're so important for the team leader multis where everybody's like, hang on, don't race through those.
Which game are we? Jesus,
this
stop.
is huge.
Hey,
give me 30 seconds to digest this. What does this mean for my multi?
How many of the audience thought that the lady sitting next to Cripper, which was in the shot, the whole framed into the shot,
was his mum?
Was his mum? So many people I've spoken to was like Cripper's mum was. I was like, no, that was Big H's mum.
Yeah, that's who was sitting the other side.
Yeah, and I think the whole time it was framed up.
Like
so she was like a major player in it. And
I was like, his fiance's on the other side, cut out a screen.
Like half her arms in. I'm like, you've got to fix that shot and get towards the girlfriend, the fiance.
She's just like waving.
Did you notice that though? The mum was framed in the whole. M came and goes, "That's great. How's his mum there?" And I was like,
that's Mrs. Mackay.
No, for stars, like maybe it is his mum, but I thought it was Harry's mum. I said, maybe Harry's bored.
Got two involved.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
good. I mean, good win by Cripper.
We're going to talk about Cripper. So.
Yeah, one of the ones where he's like, you're glad he seems like he should be a Brownlow medalist at some point. Sort of tick that box.
Well, he's a perfect Brown. Well, let's just go to. We'll save it for Carlton.
All right, we'll save it.
I'll give you the tip.
Is there anything else out of the night?
I'll give you the hot tip. We're not in footy season for a lot of teams. I'm not using up my powder on Paddy Cripps when I've got Carlton.
And so you did your little segment. Oh, and I was shocked you only had one vote.
Yeah, one vote.
So how was that received? Because I was at the pub watching this. So I had no sound for this little bit, so I was just watching.
It's good. It's a funny little segment.
It did appear funny without sound.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was fine. Yeah.
Did you get some feedback?
Yeah, phone buzzed.
Blew up?
Not a blow up.
Semi blew up?
Yeah, semi blow up.
Like a dishwasher breaking down kind of?
Don't, mate. What am I going to do for 6 hours? And I've got to pick up the kids in between there somehow. This is a disaster.
That's going to be exactly the moment the dishwasher
I'll get home.
comes.
I'll miss the dishwasher, man. My dog will be dead. My kids will be left down the front lawn. Going well.
In the rain. All right, well, might as well kick it off then. I haven't thought about the order.
Oh, my God.
Here. Let's start with the teams in the GF. So Geelong.
Geelong is me. I've got both of them, actually, so I'll just get it rolling.
Sorry, before you do roll, I noticed that you went 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like we spoke about last week.
I actually didn't.
No, you didn't, because I've got all the teams that didn't make the 8.
You got the shit group, didn't you?
Shit lot.
Yeah, you got the shit group. Geelong, big question of the week. Max Holmes is going to be, is he going to get there? Is he not going to get there? No. So he was sort of pictured. Geelong have had a training session this morning, Monday morning when we're recording this. Looks like he's running away from the main group. Look like he's kind of going 50, 60 kind of %. Assuming they don't go there, which is probably more likely that he misses than unlikely, right? Where are you going for the replacement?
Well, Parfitt's sitting there.
So Parfitt is this kind of more offensive kind of replacement. Menegola is the guy with the experience.
Cooked, he's not moving that well.
And then Mark O'Connor was the sub who gives you a bit more versatility. You could probably throw him back if you needed to.
I think you leave Mark O'Connor because you can pull that trigger in a grand final at any stage. Like, who's going to pull you up?
No, they're going to not play the next week though.
Well, there's no So you can pull that lever whenever you want.
Yep.
Parfitt, Holmes' work rate's huge. Parfitt's certainly is not, and that's his downfall at the moment, is his work rate.
But he gives you that offense.
Meningola's is huge. But he's a wounded beast at the moment and can hardly move. But you got two good options. I think they'll go Parfitt. Yeah, I think they'll go Parfitt.
It's a big call.
In the 22 too.
Yeah, it's a big call.
Or maybe O'Connor. No,
the O'Connor thing, I feel like the way that they approached Neil with that kind of team effort thing as opposed to one tagger says to me that O'Connor's probably not going to be in that 22.
Yeah, I think he stays there.
Yeah.
Menegola was the perfect fit to replace that role. But as I said, he's very, very busted up. So it's a matter of like...
It's a big question for experience because he was one of their better ones in the 2020 GF.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He had a good season that year. But Parfitt's finished the season pretty well. He had a couple of games where he was 2 goals and 28.
I really rate Brandon Parfitt as a player.
Yeah,
I thought he was going to jump out a couple of years ago. He kind of stayed steady, but...
I don't think he does that well outside the initial box of play.
Who are the premiership subs who've won premierships?
Mitch Duncan,
Luke Parker, I think was
Jonathan
sub?
Simpkin, Taylor DeRay.
Yeah, okay.
Lachie Neal was Freo's sub when they lost.
Yeah, they lost. I think
Matt Rosa was West Coast when they lost.
And then we'll go to the flip side, Sydney Swans.
Also me, so didn't know where to go with this, to be honest. I mean, there's so many good stories out of Sydney. Like we've spoken about Paddy McCartan.
Yeah.
The Bud.
Just unreal. The Bud, is it his last game? Tom Hickey's a great story.
Now, he didn't let me down the other day when I nominated Tom Hickey as a player to take out of the team.
He was unreal.
Yeah, he didn't let me down, Tom Hickey. Thank you.
Big mark in that last...
the last passage of play.
70 seconds. Yeah. Unbelievable. Even Tom Papley as well. Papley wanted to get out of there 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever that was.
Remember he said he wanted to leave and they're like, what's his contract status? He's like, he's got 9 years left. Or something. He had 4 and then got another one. It was the most confusing contract of all time.
Also, that wasn't a clear in the back. You could, They were not paying that all year.
No, I think I think it's
mind
fine to play.
Yeah, I'd
on.
let it.
Yeah, I think it was.
I think it was worse the high that they gave him in the next little passage was worse. I didn't think that. You just let that roll. You let it all roll.
Yeah.
But I know we're talking about Sydney, but it felt like Sydney were about to do a bust-up job on them. So do you look at the Sydney going to this grand final and go, what they did in the first half was great. 30 points, got out to 36 or whatever.
And then they probably
Or do you look at it and go, shit, they only won by a point. Geelong won by 70. I take more out of the first half than I do the second half.
Yeah, so do I.
I think so, yeah. And it again just shows you the danger of against Collingwood trying to just shut things down. It's like, no, you've got to...
You got to finish them, don't you?
You've got to put the foot on the throat. You can't just shut it
That
down.
momentum
Have
Well,
9 of them
open the door
streaming
for
through
them.
the corridor, just like running full pelt to goal.
And all it take would be a Pendlebury getting the ball cleanly and just flicking a handball to someone just going a million miles an hour. Who is the most important player this weekend for Sydney?
This weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, Luke Parker looms pretty large, I reckon. He started that game really well when you're on the grand final stage. But then again, like with Sydney, as I said last week, they're the biggest no stuff's given team in the comp.
Yeah.
Like, none of their young guys are going to be phased by this stage.
Nah.
They're just
well, you
not.
hope not. This is the measurement stick.
Yeah.
And then we'll switch to the losers, Melbourne.
Brisbane?
No, Melbourne. Yeah, sorry, Melbourne lost a wage ago. Brisbane.
Not me.
It's
Who's
you,
got
Nick.
That's me. Well, this goes straight to the trades now because about an hour before we came in here, Dunkley
Slam
played his
dunk.
hand and said he wants to go to the Brisbane Lions.
Which I think, who was saying that was going to happen?
There was a few around. They were like the two between them and Port.
Yeah, but they were saying
everyone was
it's
leaning
clearly
towards Port.
Brisbane because otherwise
Because it hadn't
he would have
happened yet.
nominated
Yeah.
Port
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
If you're not going to nominate Brisbane leading into a prelim.
Until they come out. So what? I don't know how they look. If it gets done, they get a very scary kind of midfield with.
Yeah, I reckon it's their weakness.
Does he go forward too?
No.
Because their weakness is the. Well, you think the midfield's a weakness?
I think it is.
But with Dunkley and
With Dunkley
Ashcroft
and
in
I
Yeah.
still don't think it's. Yeah, well, Ashcroft's a first year player, so I'm
But
not.
it
I'm not.
gives you something.
But I'm not chips in on Ashcroft first year.
Okay.
I know Nick Dacos. We've all got recency bias, whatever, because he's a superstar.
Yeah.
But I'm not all chips
But
in
for,
just yet.
for every Dacos, there's a Jason Horn-Francis
Correct.
who doesn't quite get
yeah,
it
and
done.
Jason
But
Horns-Francis, I'm not out
players
on.
that- yeah,
Different
yeah.
players, yeah.
But well, you just look on the weekend. Like Lockie Neal's Lockie Neal, a ball winner. They don't have a dominant ruckman. They've got Oscar who tries to get battles hard. Jared Lyons is not in the team at the moment.
Well, I think he's not in the team.
McCluggage needs to be on the outside.
Yep.
Like stay out in the wings. But then what else is there?
Well, now they've got a Dunkley in there.
Yeah, I know,
They've
but
got
I'm just like they're not the team that you go shit. Watch out for their midfield.
They got a lot of numbers. Yeah, I don't know. If we
You got
get a Bailey or someone in
you
there
half
next year.
midfield Bailey. You got a half midfield Rayner. You got a half midfielder Zorko. Like I think that's actually their weakness. Their midfield.
Well, then it's adding two very good players in there.
Well, I appreciate that. I do appreciate that, but yeah, I don't. Yeah, I still don't think I'm scared of Brisbane's midfield with Dunkley in there.
And maybe Dunkley's because they got problems forward as well. Like this is the other question that comes to Brisbane: is McStay goes out, do they replace him in the structure or do they fix it?
No,
I don't think they can they?
Well, Brisbane's structure, I think, looked better without three.
Yeah, definitely did.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's a Dunkley goes. Is also in that role.
But does he want more midfield time? That's why he's leaving.
Well, maybe.
That's why everybody leaves.
Yeah.
They always want more midfield
and
time.
in the preseason, they're all aiming to have a bit of a. They're training with the midfielders.
Yeah, I ran the 2K time trial with the midfield group.
Yeah. Collingwood.
That's also me. So Craig McRae's coach of the year, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which
just an astonishing effort, not just in the rise, but also in the way that he has instilled the belief, but also the in-game adjustments as well. So he wasn't scared to pull the trigger on Maynard, taking Maynard off Bud when that clearly wasn't working early.
Yeah.
Stuck Dacos into the middle for the start of the last or maybe late in the third.
But
that worked.
They were 17th last year.
Yeah.
And I think it was a fair chance they were more likely to maybe go up one or down one. Like, that was probably the movement I saw from Collingwood. They didn't go bang in the
top four.
Yeah. And not a point from the grand final. Yeah. Do we overlook Chris Scott a little bit?
Well, yeah, because he just gets it done. That's what I have.
He just gets it done.
Because it's now they finished on top of the ladder. They're into another grand final.
Yeah, and Longmire gets a bit of that as well. It's kind of just like, oh, yeah, Sydney's there about.
Well, that's I don't know if that's been said yet, but they're probably the two longest serving coaches in the league at the moment, right? And they're in the grand final.
Hardwick? No.
Or Hardwick's
Hardwick's got Scott's measure, I think.
Well, Scott was 07. Harvick was with us in
No,
08.
Scott was
Scott was
11.
11.
Oh,
first
11,
year,
sorry,
yeah.
of course. Dimmer was...
Yeah, to Dimmer's
Yeah.
probably the other one in there. So, like, there is a thing. All these people jumping on coaches too early, give them a bit of time and sometimes it works out.
Mhm.
But talking about, like, do we overlook... So how many goals has Franklin kicked this year? Do we
Like
work?
47 or
40,
something.
50
yeah,
goals?
50-ish.
And we're like, well, Franklin, she's done.
Yeah.
I mean, if a young bloke was kicking 50,
Yeah.
we'd do 2-minute warning on him every week. Like, King, 50, King.
here
Like,
comes.
Budger still just goes about kicking 50 goals.
We talk about Ben King every week. He didn't even play a game this year.
Yeah.
Case in point.
True.
Jonathan, and like Bud just goes about it quietly.
I
it's
would
interesting.
love Buddy to unleash
Well, I was about to nominate him as like the player I'd be
You
wary
reckon?
of. Yeah, I reckon he's got something in him.
Norm Smith.
He's due a big grand final. And that's not to say that he has played poorly in grand finals, but he's due a big grand final.
Yeah,
He's had bad luck. He's like the Bulldogs one. He hurt his ankle.
had Scarlett in 08. Well, good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still kicked 2 pivotal
I think
goals for
at 2012, he was like that third quarter. He went nuts.
Yeah, Gunston was getting off the chain.
Yeah, I can't remember which one.
Yeah,
it was. There was
whatever.
one where, no, this was the
12,
losing one.
yeah,
He
12.
was like probably one of the better players there.
Mhm.
Well, let's go to Melbourne now. That's me.
The shit group strikes again,
Yeah,
Dave.
here we go. Well,
He had one task. One for Robbo, one for me, one for you. One. That's how
you notice I even came through later than normal.
Yeah, no, I noticed everything.
You do notice everything. So the Jackson situation's obviously constantly evolving, and he didn't pick a side over here. He said he just wants to go to WA. The West Coast entry in it. So we all thought he was leaning towards Fremantle. I was just wondering how much leverage it gives Melbourne compared to, say, a West Coast. Like,
But
do
could
they
that-
just
could that
squeeze
be-
Fremantle, or is there a
Could that
tipping
be
point?
Jackson going as well, like with Melbourne? I don't hate you. Like, it's not.
Yeah,
I want to get. Who was a player recently that moved and was like, I want to get
the best
the
deal.
best deal for the club?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember that.
Do you
It
remember
was
that?
Chera, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Chera. It was Chera. And
Spruiked
said,
that
yeah,
pretty hard, yeah.
I want to get
That's
the
right.
best deal for Freo.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a little bit of Jackson saying, or Melbourne
the
saying,
best
hey,
deal.
can you not nominate a club?
It's like breaking up with someone and saying, I really want to be friends still.
Yeah.
yeah.
Doesn't always work.
No,
out.
it
always
doesn't.
pan out.
No.
No.
You get booed
But
vocally.
yeah, I think it is
The next
Freo.
time you
Do
see
you,
them.
do you get booed every time
all the
you see your
time.
ex?
Yeah, boo. Just as a walk
All
down
her
the
friends
street.
are just there. Boo.
This bloke. Freo. I think it's done, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. But that's sort of wondering the West Coast thing. Like, they're obviously in there as a bit of a disruptor in talks too, with the
Yeah.
like he can walk now thing. But I don't know.
West
yeah,
Coast being so bad, they sit at the bottom of the draft.
Yeah, they're like
The-
he can walk. Like they could pick him up
Yeah.
in the preseason draft.
Geez, it'll be stiff if he ends at North Melbourne next year.
Yeah. Well, this is the first year I think in a long time where this preseason draft is like, oh, that's a real thing. Clarko
Yeah.
wants everybody,
Yeah.
and West Coast are probably in the same boat.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't matter who you are.
I'll walk to the pre-season. Good luck.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
sniffed
yeah.
up by
Also,
one.
yeah, go for your
Clarkson
life.
or Simpson will get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a done deal. My mate, what's his value?
In terms of picks,
Jackson, yeah.
yeah, it's
Are
kind
we
of
still
two
two first?
isn't it? Yeah, I think.
I think it's too fair.
So I
Yeah.
jokingly said to me Melbourne mates, they're all full-blown nuffy Melbourne. I said, I'll be a first and a second. Well, you don't reckon he got on to be quick smart. First and a second.
Yeah, you notice Alan Richardson coming out, be like, oh, he's a generational, like, you know.
Oh, yeah, no, mate.
Future's untapped.
They'll be picking up Wayne Carey before you know it.
Let's go down the list of Fremantle.
Fremantle, so I've got Freo. Thank you. Welcome to the
Yeah,
party.
Welcome to the
There he
convo.
is.
Hey, how serious is Peter Bell regarding Roy Lobb?
Yeah, well,
That was interesting audio, but is that just games as well?
there's
I,
a bit of all of that.
if you haven't heard it, was literally like, you've contracted, you're not leaving. And
Yeah.
it was blunt. It wasn't like, we'll see what we can do. It was a no.
There's tension there between Fremantle and like the manager of Acres, Lobb,
Who
and
is it?
Colin Young.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think there's a bit of that involved in it too. Like, you know, like all your
I'm going to make
guys
it hard
leaving,
for all
I'll
of
make
you,
it hard
and
for this
then
guy,
you're going to
so
make
he
it hard
wouldn't.
on return. Yeah.
Yeah, and then suggestions that he skipped a player meeting, they call some kind of meeting. And
Oh,
Lobb
I
sort of
did hear
skipped
that
it,
there was some
which
meeting.
I like, and you know, if you say you want out and they say no, and then the next day it's a player meeting, you know, half a chance you're going to skip it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they all move.
I think they do too. Is it not? Are they not better to just take a tiny step back? Jai plays all year. Chasey plays more football.
Yeah, like it's probably, but I
But
don't
that
know.
was as blunt as I've heard. And Belly is a good operator.
Yeah,
I don't know. I was just a bit like, geez, that was jarring.
It feels like clubs are getting a bit more, whether the actual results will yield out in terms of whether they stay or not, but it feels like clubs are puffing their chest out a little bit more to say, no, we don't want to lose you. We're not happy about this, rather than just giving the blessing.
There's also a suggestion that his contract was front-ended, so they've already paid him his money, and it's like, so him leaving doesn't open up a lot of room in the salary cap either, so it's like a...
I was going to say, who would have thought a $750,000 contract would be a pain in the ass for someone?
Yeah.
But for Roy Lobb, it's been a pain in the ass.
But I love it from the clubs. Like, take the power back. If you guys sign the contract, we've got no obligation.
That's why I reckon fast forward 4 or 5 years,
and this
we're going to see 3 or 4 years left on contracts, and clubs will be going, yay or nay. The ball's in our court a little bit more with your money.
They're all signing 7-year deals too. They're going to get stuck in that, aren't they? Down the list to Richmond.
I'll see you in half an hour, guys.
That's me. So I love this. It's like a bit of a jab. It's not a jab. They're making a hire to strengthen their footy department. But I love the little bit of a jab, like Essendon, Truck Rutten's no good. And immediately his former club's like,
mate.
We'll have you back.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't say jab Essendon.
Can't say jab and Essendon in the same sentence. Come on.
Sorry, guys.
Too soon.
Well, on that, they're probably going to get the bloke who was in charge of the thing
did
back.
Did you see the membership?
Probably going to come up.
Did you see the membership email?
What did it say?
The two players that were on the background.
It
was
for
someone, and it was Hurdy in his playing gear.
Oh no!
Is that legit?
Yeah, my mate at work, Essendon supporter, was like,
let it go.
So is he happy about it? Because I'm trying to canvass Essendon supporters.
We'll cover a bit more of this when we get to Essendon.
Oh yeah, this is Essendon.
This is Richmond. But I love that. Yeah, your former club, like Truck Rutten, as soon as he became available, it's like, we will absolutely have him back. No qualms. Here he goes. There's a bit of a like, you guys, what were you doing kind of thing.
Yeah, you broke him.
The other Richmond thing, which is coming up, we got the Hurdy. Here he comes, James Hurd, back on deck. Oh no, don't. Oh,
so it's just a
like a membership.
Yeah, thank you for season. See you in 2023. And
it's a big
picture of Hurdy doing the fist.
See you in 2023.
Yeah. So I'm just curious about how they get these Taranto and Hopper deals done. They want to get them in the door. We'll extend their flag window. Like those two and Shea Bolton at most centre bouncers will. Yeah. People are throwing up like, how do they get it in when they got Jack Graham? It's like, well, Jack Graham.
With respect to Jack Graham.
Yeah, with respect to Jack Graham, he's not a Taranto or a Hopper.
Well, I think timing's perfect. Rewalt will have a big pay cut.
Yeah, they all have
a big pay cut.
So money-wise,
is retired.
But then so they've got picked
Did
12.
Retire?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did 12, 19, 30, and a future first. Do they just have to hand over the lot? Like, what's the currency for the mids, especially if you're like they're offering 7-year big money deals.
No, that's the issue. Is if you're big enough, it's like the Jackson stuff.
Well, yeah.
Well, if you're offering 7 years at that value, then give us your picks.
Give us what he's worth.
Look, I reckon Richmond, if they think they're still in the window, which is a dangerous game, because if you miss the window, like West Coast, and then you got the talent on the books that aren't performing. So if they go, here's 2 firsts in our second, give us Hopper and give us Taranto. Well, if it doesn't sing, then all of a sudden you don't have any picks or anything. Yeah.
They're still in the window, right?
I think this extends the window. They're back in now.
But even like, you know how when they go through round by round at the Brownlow, and you're kind of like, oh yeah, that game. Like 3 times last night, I was kind of like, I don't know how Richmond lost that game.
They lost so many
games. North Melbourne won. The Noah Anderson won. Melting down against Geelong in the last 60-odd seconds. You're kind of like, how did Richmond lose that game? And they still made the finals.
Western Bulldogs.
I've got the Western Bulldogs, and
there you go. You got 2.
Yeah, it's sort of off the back of the Giants. Can you see the Western Bulldogs becoming a little bit of a Giants sort of? They got the talent in there, but a bit more of a rotating. Like you lose Dunkley. Dunkley's now gone. I can see in a world that Treloar falls off the page at some stage.
They don't have the hierarchy.
Yeah, there's no like the Bont obviously is like McRae. Would he be gettable? I think he had a bit of a disappointing year for a star.
Yeah.
Is he going to fall off the edge a little bit? Bailey Smith's in there. Can you see a world where they are a little bit like a GWS if they don't get it right?
Yeah, I think I can.
Yeah.
Like that was them this year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Completely.
That's what. So they could
just
that be
slightly better.
Are they the most likely team to drop out of the 8 from this year to next?
Oh, yes, probably.
Yeah.
They probably are, right?
Yeah.
So we think Richmond's going to be back there again.
Yeah, I would say it's between...
We think Freo's going to be back there.
I would say it's between Western Bulldogs probably ahead of the pack, and then Collingwood Fremantle are like an either way bet for me. I don't know what's going to happen next year.
They could go up
take a step back to go forward.
To go forward 2 steps, yeah, I agree.
And they're both going to get that top 6 tough draw as well.
Yeah.
So that's going to hurt. But
one of the joys of getting bundled out at the top, you know your draw's going to be really tough next year.
Yeah, I could easily see him dropping out. And they bring in.
What are they chasing with Dunkley, or are they going to the? So
Well, yeah, it's kind of a good thing.
They've got Jamara, they've got Darcy,
and they want to bring in Lob.
And they want to bring in Lob, but then what do they do with the pick? Do they then offload that to try and get better in the back line?
Or do they have to move it to?
What's Lob's cost?
Well, Lob's contracted, so yeah, and it sounds like.
It sounds like they're not moving.
Yeah. So I'd
what would you be happy to give up?
First in there.
You'd go first
They're
round from the Royal. Yeah, what would you give up though?
If it was like 17, 18, and you needed to get it done, and you were committed to them, that's what some of these players, they're so far down the line that it's on the club. They've got a contract in front of them.
Yeah,
it's on you to get it done.
I still don't know why Roy Lobb is not Melbourne involved in that Melbourne. I think that's just the perfect fit.
Sense,
Yep. Carlton, here we go.
Paddy Cripps, is he just not like the perfect human? So we spoke to him this morning, thanked his mum, thanked his partner, spoke about on air this morning with us how he took lessons to try and better himself as a public speaker.
Yep.
He's good looking, he's from the country, he plays a perfect brand of footy. Is he just the all-rounder that we all want to be?
And still in touch with the country roots? Like
Northampton. And Northampton.
He wears the Rams jumpers around training.
Yeah. No, it's I'm super envious. People do say I look like Cripper, so that's interesting.
Who says that?
Oh, I get it all the time. I was signing signatures on the way in. Cripper, shit. Jamie Cripps. Paddy Cripps, sorry.
Jamie Cripps,
no, we're all happy with that.
I don't think...
Is it happy with the winner?
I think so. And I think, all these people are coming out about the suspension and getting off, but it's kind of like, well, he did... that doesn't even come into it for me this year.
No, I didn't thought about
Paddy
it.
Cripps should be a Brownlow medalist at some point.
So he said this morning to us that we asked him about the suspension and the lawyers, and he said, I'm a ball player. I've always been a ball player, and that was my intention, was to win the football. And you're like, it's not even like, I was lucky I got off. He was like, that was my intention, was to hunt the footy. Like
he did smash someone in the head, but
that's fair
enough.
I'm also kind of sick of the ball player line. Like, who in this league isn't a ball player?
No, but someone
like 7 guys.
Someone
play
harder
regularly.
than others.
Yeah, of course.
Dean Solomon.
But it's like any time someone's reported or goes to the trouble, no, he's a ball player. That's not in his nature.
Yeah, but I mean, Cripper
it's
can...
not the 80s anymore. We
Cripper
don't have,
can do
hitmen
damage
going around.
Going after the football. Not many can.
Yeah, of course.
There was when I rewatched the '89 grand final, I wasn't a ball player on the park that day.
Yeah,
they were all just going with their head every single.
Is that the Billy Brownless karate chop?
Yeah.
On Gary Buckenara, who karate chopped him.
St Kilda.
St Kilda Football Club. Well, what are we doing here? Dan Hanbury signing off with 3 votes in the last game.
That was 2. Yeah, Kennedy got 3 in his last. Hanbury got 3 in his last.
St Kilda Footy Club.
Mundy got 2 in Freo's last.
Did he?
His last home and away game. Yeah.
It's an open canvas here for us. St Kilda Football Club. Are they staying the course? What are they doing?
That's a very good question.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what are they doing?
I feel like they're having a meeting right now, just asking this same question.
What do we do here?
What do we do, guys?
The likelihood of them winning, being top 4 in 5 years.
Not great. Not great on the current course.
That answers your question, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You got to blow it up. It takes guts to do it, but
bloody oath, it does. That's where NBA teams are incredible.
Yeah, let's just gut.
Hey, we're going to just gut it.
Yeah.
Look at Utah.
Yeah,
just gut it.
Just
fewer pieces. It's a lot easier to do it, obviously, but they are a lot bolder with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, like, if you were Brett Ratton, so he's probably going to come under a bit of the pressure next year.
Did they just re-sign him?
Well, you still come under pressure.
Yeah.
I
think he just got a new deal.
Was it not
earlier?
Yeah, was it not 12 months ago? And then
no, it was definitely happened this year.
Well, if they're going no good, he's going to come under pressure.
Yeah.
I don't get contracts are contracts. Like, what's it? So it'd be best for him to stay the course, wouldn't it? Because they were 8-3 at the start of the year.
It's in his best interest to stay the course. The ones who start a rebuild from the start.
Never
were they
finished
8-3?
I think 8-3.
Holy moly.
Yeah, them and Carlton. I'm pretty sure were.
Yeah, it did start nicely.
Yeah.
I don't remember it being 8-3. I'm not doubting you.
Yeah, no.
They were up there.
That's how much they've fallen, yeah.
Because
you got Max King.
Yeah.
And I know we've talked about this before. I've got a couple on the list, but as we go on, there's less and less. I'd still keep like a Jade Gresham because I don't know what the market for him is.
Billings, Gresham,
Steele.
Billings a few years older. I could ship Billing.
Yeah.
Steele you just keep because you want that like leadership figure in the middle.
Selwood type.
Yeah, and Rowan Marshall and beyond that. Oh, that reminds me. Somebody
Cal
messaged
Wilkie.
in. You owe someone 4 cartons.
Cal Wilkie?
Yeah. Hang on, I
Yeah.
gotta find it. Someone's like called you out.
Yeah, no. No, I know the. I've
Why?
spoken
Because
about
he
the
made
Cal
the
Wilkie
squad?
bet. Yeah, I thought it was make the All-Australian team.
Oh, boy. Gonna have to go back to the
You're gonna
video
have to go
tape.
back and find
Review,
Or maybe that's
review
what
the
the squad-
actual word.
No, I know the guy.
He owes
No.
me 4 cartons for Callum Wilkie making the All-Australian squad. However, I can't find him on any socials. Now we find the real reason you've gone dark.
Right. No, because I just paid Adelaide overs on the line.
Okay.
I couldn't find a bottle shop near the guy, so I just gave him $100. No, I know him absolutely. I mean, we've conversed about 100 times throughout the year.
Just picturing you walking
No, I
into your
thought it was
local. He's just
Australian.
there every week. He's just like Cal Wilkie.
Yeah. I thought it was made the All-Australian team.
You got to go back and find. We need to.
Have
Yeah,
to
no,
find
I've got the
audio.
transcripts.
Okay,
yeah,
you got the
they're
transcripts.
Deep
No,
dive.
if I had forgotten about it, but no, I'll certainly be on that.
Let's go on to Port Adelaide.
That's me. So shout out to one-time Hardball Gets Guest and stats hero of mine, Swamp, the great Sir Swamp thing on Twitter. So put up a few good post Brownlow last night. And the most interesting one of them all was the guys who got Brownlow votes but didn't get coaches' votes in games.
Well,
So,
which one stands up more than the other?
Wow.
Coaches' votes by a million miles.
Yeah,
The
I'd say
coaches
coaches'
over
votes.
the umpires. Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially 2 lots of coaches as
Yeah.
well. So there are 11 times this year where a guy got 3 Brownlow votes and didn't get a single coach's vote for
11.
that game. 11 times. Carl Amon got 3 of them.
Yeah.
He was responsible for 3 of them, and they were all in the back half of the year when it was quite obvious that he was not going to be at Port Adelaide again.
Was this Port Adelaide trying to inflate his value? Just having a word with the umpires as he leaves.
Oh,
every
what
day?
you reckon?
Can you reckon it's 3 votes?
Well, I must admit, I
Umpires,
sat on
3
the
votes.
couch.
Coaches, don't
I
rate
sat on
it.
the couch last night because he's obviously going to Hawthorn, and he ended up with 14 votes or
Yeah,
I think
something.
15,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I was
Yeah.
like, it's not a bad investment by the Hawks. But then you say that, and you're like, there's 9 that he shouldn't have got.
He finished 12th.
Carl Amon.
I think he finished 12th in the Brownlow this year. He's the 12th best player in the competition, according to the umpires
Carl
this year.
Amon. Yeah,
Carl
no.
Amon.
I like looking at the coaches' votes for 2, like, because I do that team of the week. I like to see how accurate you were or whatnot.
Yep.
But then at the end of the year, you like to go, well, hang on.
Yeah.
How have you possibly given that bloke 3 votes
Yeah.
when it's 10 over
Yeah,
here?
both coaches gave him like,
Yeah.
or like somewhere someone does a poll, but both coaches
But
gave him
and
5.
coaches don't go, oh, you tagged really well, you get the votes. Like they still give it
Yeah.
to the bloke who's
They give him a 2.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
in there, but they're still giving the 10 to the superstar.
Yeah.
That's a big divide. 3 different games for Carl Amon.
Not a drop.
Where the coaches, both sets of coaches went, nah.
Were any of the
umpires
top?
went, yeah, 3.
Were any of the top 3 in those 11? Like
I think there was
Lockie,
one.
Cripper, or
There might have been one Clayton Oliver from memory.
okay.
You know what I noticed? Every club, and this is outside the 2 minutes, so we might pause the clock. So every club seemed to have one person who just got most of the votes. It was like, I don't know, 14 or something was like, some of the lowest 12s, and then the next best was like a 7. And I don't know what it is. Like, why are we so? And there's something here about the amount of coverage around certain players,
Oh,
and then
100%.
getting saturated. Like, people used to win the Brownlow with 20 votes.
Yeah.
Now they got 20 by round 7.
Yeah,
like,
you
all
get to
these
30.
individuals.
Yeah.
It's like the best. It's always like that guy. And if he does anywhere near it, he gets the
Look
3
no
votes.
further than Lockie Neal getting one in that last game.
Yeah,
That's-
Lockie Neal getting one in
That
the
last
blows
game.
my
It's bizarre,
mind. And I
isn't
was on Lockie Neal, so I
Yeah.
was happy about that. Blows
My
my
phone.
mind.
So I was watching it through the app on my TV, like the 7 app or whatever it is.
7 plus.
And so it was out by like 20 seconds.
Yeah.
So my phone was just blowing up, and I tried not to look at it. And I saw Neil. I thought,
He's won
shit, Neil's won it. And then it went, Lockie Neal 1 vote. I could not believe he got 1 vote for that.
Nah.
Anyway, do you reckon they got the wrong player?
Hey?
Nah, they couldn't. It shocks me.
Maybe they got the wrong player. Who's
Who's
someone
number
that looks very
9 for
similar?
Melbourne?
Charlie Spargo?
Maybe Charlie Spargo. They meant to like, get
Probably
9, and they just got 9 for Brisbane.
Probably not.
We're now on to Gold Coast. Okay, so that's me. The Alex Sexton is an interesting one I found. Like Isaac Rankine leaving. I don't think he's on massive money. I think he's got a little bit of contract left.
Sexton.
Yeah, but only came in. Only played.
What did he do in the last game?
Last game he kicked 6 against North Melbourne. So you remember the year where he was leading
Was he
the
All-Australian
Coleman
squad?
after.
Was
Yeah.
he squad or something at one stage?
I'm not sure, but he definitely led
Yeah,
the
he was
Coleman
on.
after like
He was
10
going
rounds.
mad. Yeah.
He was going bananas. But just struggled to get a look in this year. So I don't know. Is the Isaac Rankine? Oh, we'll slot Sexton back in. That's an easy one.
Have you got
Or-
Sexton's age?
He's 28.
Yeah, about 10-29.
So he's been there, I think, from the start.
He's their fourth most capped player of all time.
Is he
really?
I think
Second most goals.
Is he from the Logan area?
Logan,
shout out to Logan.
I think he's in a
weekly
Logan
shout
area.
out to Logan.
Yeah. Mate, well, he's
in
just
the corridor.
Just hanging on for when they get their first team.
Maybe that's why he's a marquee signing. But does he have value? Does he have currency? That 6 goals is against North Melbourne, so
29.
Small
pay North
forwards.
Melbourne tax.
Yeah, but who's small forwards are no good.
Need to be someone semi in the window.
Yeah, in the window.
Yeah.
Who's just
Good.
gone out?
Well, I don't know, but Bailey
Melbourne?
Fritsch, yeah, I was going to say, isn't a typical small forward,
Yeah,
but he
they
probably
could
plays
use
a
a
bit
bit
like
extra
he plays a bit
firepower.
like Bailey Smith, doesn't he? A
Probably
bit like
similar,
Bailey Fritsch.
Medium sort of
Yeah.
forwards. You kicked 36-17 in the VFL. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird. Like when he.
I mean, if
was
he
up
ends
and
up
going,
at another club, I wouldn't be surprised if he kicked 30 next year.
yeah, he's probably got deficiencies. I'm going to guess it's defensive, like without reading too much
He
into
could
it.
go to the Bulldogs
The Bulldogs should use another forward.
because they just put midfielders there.
Yeah, they do.
They
And
just
now
chuck the 8 guys who
How
aren't
come
in
we're
the centre
not
square.
scoring?
Yeah.
Because your best midfielder's
got-
playing forward pocket.
He's got Libber
Yeah,
in the forward pocket.
yeah,
Yeah,
we
so
got-
it's
what
squeezed
about
out,
Libber
yeah.
last night when the camera
Outstanding.
panned back to me at the speed deal as well?
Outstanding.
Oh, shit.
And then they made their way around the Bulldogs stable. Yeah, excellent.
We're on to Hawthorn.
Hawthorn is me. So, did you guys see the Clarko story
Oh yeah, they
from a
just
few days ago?
Jeff Kennett firing one across the bow.
It's kind of bizarre, just getting
missed
warned about. So he
They-
basically got warned by the Hawks about not violating contractual obligations
Like, until October.
until
end of October,
the end of
whatever it is.
October or the
Start
start of
October.
November or whatever. So the fact that he was wearing the North Melbourne polo
Making
with
calls.
Mazda on it as opposed to Nissan, who are the Hawks sponsor. One of the best things I found about this is Clarko's still got a Nissan
Yeah.
that he's still driving around until November
so
1.
what about when
because
Hawthorn-
he's like, I'm not giving back my Nissan.
When
yet."
Hawthorn were really good, they had Audi.
Oh, yeah.
And then when they just went down, then they went to Nissan. I was like, it's fitting. They're out of the luxury.
Shout out to our friends at Nissan if you
love-
want to
Oh,
sponsor
I was
the
going
pod.
to say,
but
if
we
you
love
wanna upgrade to
Mazda.
an Audi,
Yeah.
the Mazda
Love
big
Mazda
50
much
SP.
more.
Yeah.
It's a complete package.
It's completely packed for work and the weekend.
Yeah.
Why
That's what I
why
found.
aren't they just shaking hands?
Well,
I
yeah,
don't
just
know.
saying it's fine. It's because
Like-
it's obviously Jeff Kennett.
Yeah, but come on, Jeff.
It's pretty rich to let a guy go, tap
Jeff-
him out, and then be like,
Yeah,
"Oh no,
knife
don't
him.
wear that shirt." It's like, mate,
Jeff whacked me one night on Twitter.
Did he?
Yeah, after a final. We played him in a final over here. I'd got in a bit of a tangle. And then I was like, Jeff. And then he's like, he loves having a drink and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, that's a late night tweet. He's right. He rides the emotions of Hawthorn like no one else.
Old Jeff.
Yeah, no, good on him. I mean, he's still going to fight.
it's
He's
a
still
bit
gonna,
rich.
It is, but he's still going to fight.
It's like you seeing your ex-girlfriend and getting booed by her friends in the cafe, and then she's also like, "Oh, you're wearing a new shirt. No, you can't wear that. You gotta wear. You gotta wear something I gave you."
Yeah.
What?
Oh, yeah, Jeff. He's so prickly. But he's like, if you're going to war, a bit like Koshy, I suppose, at Port Adelaide, like they are not steering off anything that
Pick a course and stay the course. sort of.
but it's like, if this does not suit Port Adelaide, or if this does not suit Hawthorn, or if this does not suit they're not moving.
Yeah.
Like, everyone else can move out around me.
Could be an interesting Carl Amon trade from Port Adelaide to Hawthorn then.
Is he free agent?
Yeah, he's free agent.
Yeah, okay.
So
Fair
he's
point.
walking.
Fair point.
Adelaide.
Rory Laird got stiff last
He
night.
did, that's right.
Rory Laird.
He didn't get a single 3 voter, did he?
No, he didn't. And he didn't. Not only did he not top Adelaide, he didn't even finish second in Adelaide's voting.
What
So
was
he
the-
finished with 10.
That game where he broke the AFL tackles record and had 30.
Still couldn't get 3
Couldn't
votes.
get 3 votes.
Was that
Ben
Geelong?
Keys got
I
11.
think so.
Started really well.
He
And
started
that
his
was,
shot out
and that
the
was
cannon.
worth
Yeah.
it. But Tex Walker
Yeah.
finished with
Yeah.
14.
I remember looking up late and it was like Tex, and it said 14 votes. I was like, Tex walks on 14.
Tex Walker had the same number of best on grounds
As Carl Amon.
as Clary and
Carl
Toot.
Amon.
As
Yeah.
Clary
The
and
lofty
Toot.
heights.
Did he really?
They all had 4 best ons.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm surprised
So
that
go
Clary only
figure.
had 4.
Oh, they should. And Melbourne are obviously cannibalising themselves like between the two.
Yeah, obviously.
Petrarca and
But
Oliver.
did Tex
But they
have
did that last year as
good a
well.
year?
Yeah.
Was that Tex's career? That was his career best year by way of Brownlow votes.
Yeah, no, it wasn't his best year, no.
It's probably
No.
just because there's enough
Again,
blokes
there's
in
no-
the midfield there that they don't really know. Like, you know, there's enough
But
sort
they
of,
should know Rory Laird
Tex.
by now.
But there was a period, remember I did that thing on Rory Laird and I went through his last 5 games.
Too
And
many
it was
handballs.
something,
Is
it
it
was
handballs
something
thing?
like 158 handballs to like 35 kicks. Or so. It was what I made those
But then he
numbers up.
kind of turned it around and
He did
finished
turn it
strong
around late.
late.
Yeah, no, he certainly turned it. Yeah.
The umpires.
real
The Umpires
stiff.
Association obviously listen to Hardball Gets.
No, well,
they've just been tainted with your views from early in the season.
Well, I just those in-close players that just spin it around. Like,
You know, I'd love to see like the umpires come out on the day after the Brownlow.
Yeah.
And just be thrown a few. Like, well.
they should have
missed
to
that one.
they should have to write like a sentence.
Yeah, why?
So then when they go, already my check,
Yeah.
and they go, oh, you're like, okay,
He was really nice.
I accept that, yeah.
Yeah.
But otherwise, what are you doing?
He tripped me over and then he helped me up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Many people
He's a
wouldn't
gentleman.
do, so he gets 3 votes.
I said stand and he stood.
He stood.
And I
I
missed
yelled
3 votes
stand
2
at
years
him.
ago, so I thought this was a good time to
Yeah,
level
I
up.
had to give him back one.
To really
Some
like
point.
when someone's voting on it, so people actually know how the medal was awarded.
Yeah, give him. You have to. Describe why. There's plenty of
that's
those
it.
kind of forms.
Just a little-
Show you're working out. Provide
a
evidence of
sentence.
your working
And
out.
during the broadcast, like every club has one chance to stop and get an explanation.
Yeah.
You just stop the count, please, Gil.
Don't mind it.
We're on to Essendon. So here we are. Let's discuss the herd issue, which just grows legs every week.
Oh, I think it's
now it seems inevitable,
Yeah.
which is how
Who's favourite?
Essendon
Yeah, I was just about
cannot.
to look. You can look.
They can't leave the past behind, right? What is going on at that club? Why are they
I
such a
think
rabble?
that backs to the wall. That they
We
don't
are
they don't
Essendon.
care what people are going to say, because people have been potting them for not winning a final for 22 years or
Yeah.
whatever it is.
18.
18 is it? Yeah.
It's still a long time.
Like, I just don't think they care now. They're like, we're going to do it our way.
So
Like,
the one that got me last week was clearly Zach Merritt was at a function. Someone
Yes.
asked him, and he said, "I don't
Yes.
think James Hurd's the right person for the job."
Ooh.
And then when it became public, started to walk it back, and call, "Oh no, let's not." Like, we'll accept anyone who comes in. I think he called James Hurd, but I'm guessing that his opinion's actually more of the first when he didn't think anybody was really
yes.
of anyone of note was listening. So this is where it's going to become. But the problem with Zach Merritt, him coming out and saying that and then trying to do damage control is to the wider public, everyone's like, yeah, because he's not the right person. Please don't do this. Why?
but what if he
are
is
you
the
doing
best
this?
coach?
Well, if he is the best
What if-
coach, then
how many-
I want to
when
he
did he
should probably
last
go to a
coach?
different club.
When did he last coach?
2015?
So maybe he's over the last 7 years, like he's gone and worked on himself and then developed. No, in terms of like football coaching.
Yeah.
And maybe he's a better coach than what he was.
Maybe he is, but
It's
it
a
cannot
decent
work.
gamble to take. and
Yeah.
But
especially
maybe they
going
go,
back.
shoes, the next 3 aren't our people. Like there's, maybe they go,
Is Adam Uze that bad?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I was at Hawthorn when Uze was there,
Yeah.
but he was like a development.
Coach
So,
at that point,
yeah.
wasn't he?
No, I had no.
I feel like you'd be pretty
James
flat if
Starr.
you're Adam Uze and
James
get
Hurd
pipped
jumps
by-
ahead of you.
But there might
you
be the
get pipped
perfect
for
storm.
the GWS job, and then we're bringing back this guy from.
Could they
years
circle
ago.
back to Ross?
and like put something on his table.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a world for everything at Essendon. Like, all options are on the table. They're about to bring back a bloke who was at the head of the thing when they ruined the club, and just to further move
Might
on
be
to that
different
issue,
this
we're going to
time.
bring everyone back.
Yeah,
I don't know.
run it back.
Half of me thinks it'd be good, just a bit of an up yours, like let's bunk it, like us against the world.
Has there been a single
mentality.
player who was there at the time who's? It seems like every time anyone asks anyone who was there at the time, they're all just like, "Oh no, don't do that."
Yeah.
Turn to GWS down the bottom of the ladder. GWS.
What Giants? Yeah, I am.
Well, they're down the bottom of the ladder,
Yeah.
so
Yes,
probably.
Yeah, GWS
Where you
Giants.
shine.
Expectations
The group of
next
death.
year. What do they do with the Taranto Hopper picks? Are they loading up? Because then their books are cooked as well. They've got the 7-yearers at the top. Then they've got picks that are coming, and they're going to have a high draft pick, obviously, because they were poor this year.
Yep.
Do you put it down to new coach, some new fresh blood, and they might make the 8? Or are you offloading those picks to try and do something a bit special?
Nah, take the kids.
Kids?
Yeah.
And what
And
about
I don't know if they can, like their salary cap wise, I don't know if they can bring in too many.
Hopper and Taranto?
Yeah, I think it's still. Oh, maybe there's enough of a room, enough of a gap there.
And do you reckon the AFL would say the Giants have been a success?
Very good question. Their crowds are lower than. I saw their average home attendance lower than Gold Coast.
Yeah, I think it would be hard to.
Say
I think
it's
it
a
would be hard
success?
to say that. Yeah,
Even if they've played in the grand final?
I think they'd probably measure success more from a holistic point of view.
Yeah.
and they haven't quite captured that
Yeah.
market, have they?
They've done everything. They ticked every box as a club, but the people just haven't been embraced.
Yeah, and I think
Locally.
it's almost even more damning that they made that grand final, because it's kind of like you don't even have but wait until they pop and everyone takes notice of them. It's kind of like, nah, they were there for
right there.
2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
They're
Made
right in that window,
in a row.
And the numbers still aren't reflecting with membership and crowds and stuff. Bit of a worry.
It is a bit of a worry.
Dill Buckley talking about Grand Final Day 2019, how Sean Grigg was charged on the field to razz up the Richmond's cheers, like the fans.
Yeah.
And Dill Buckley was given guide to Giants. Sean Grigg has got 85,000 full-blown wild footy addicts going crazy. And Dill's down the goal square to the Giants like... Yeah.
The neutral corporate.
Oh, yeah.
He's pumping politely 5,000 who got around the song in the lead up. Like, that was the only reason I came.
Like the song.
And he walks off. They're like, who was that guy?
Oh, God. West Coast. So this was reported in the West and on the west.com.au and got a bit of traction on Twitter. But in terms of warning signs for the season, lowest club tally in the AFL era at the Brownlow Medal. Like total votes across the entire league.
Yeah.
15 votes from
the
22
same number
games.
as Carl Amon.
Same number as
Carl Amon polled the same number of votes as your 2022 West Coast Eagles.
And 6 of those votes were Josh Kennedy, who's leaving.
Yes.
After 11 games, only
one
had
of
2
them
votes
was
on the
one of
board.
them was Junior Rioli, who's also leaving.
One of Junior Rioli is also leaving.
So Jake ended with 6.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did Tim Kelly
Got a 3.
Kelly got a 3 and a loss somewhere. Gov got a 2 in the first win against
Darling
Collingwood.
got a 2 in that game. Was it Gold Coast?
Yeah.
Bunch. And
There was
that was
Gaff
a lot.
something.
Gaff got something.
Yeah, Gaff got something. Gaff got something. Like, when the camera went to him and he was like, fuel.
Yeah.
He's
He's got a one Brownlow vote clause in his contract.
Hard. It was hard to watch all season. Let's be honest.
Was. And even though even when they got people back, they still couldn't do anything.
No, they couldn't find that spark. So, if they don't find it in the off season, it's going to be a long season again.
Well, I think it's definitely going to be a long.
It's going to be a long season, but you can't have the 120 point drubbings and stuff.
No, and of all of those, you get lowest votes in the AFL era. You'd hope one of them you get a vote somewhere for someone young, but it's just not. That's the list.
No.
Kennedy, Gov, Gaff, Kelly, Darling, and Junior Rioli, who's 25, 26. He's
and leaving.
And leaving. But it's just that. Yeah. That's just a.
But they will argue Chesser. You haven't seen anything
Haven't
else.
seen him, yeah.
Bazzo.
Bazzo showed a couple of signs. Oscar Allen coming back in.
Oscar Allen back in. No, but then you go pick 3. Or will be 3.
It will be 3
pick
by the
3.
end of it, yeah.
A couple of second rounders.
Yeah, it's just not going to bounce as quickly as they.
No, it's not going to bounce.
And I wonder if when they say about how quickly they're going to come back, whether they actually believe that or whether that's a public positioning.
Well, we all laughed at Richmond winning flags when Brendan Gale was on Footy Classified and was like, "We want to win premiership."
Yeah, well, that's what. So they need Big Three to be their Dusty Martin.
Yeah,
you'd like to think internally it's more of the second one rather than the first one of what you'd said. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And round us off with North Melbourne.
Griffin Logue off to. Did you see a stat kicking around during the week that he was number 1 one-on-one defender in the competition this year?
Is that right?
Yeah.
How many games did he play in defence?
Oh, enough. I still remember that Kerno game in my mind where athletically he stood up.
Yep.
So, again, it's all a trade sort of speculation and stuff.
Yeah.
Are Freo happy to shake hands with Griffin Logue and see you next year somewhere else? Or?
I think they'd rather, his biggest value, they use him everywhere, but his biggest value is in case Alex Pearce hurts himself.
Yeah. It's funny, and it's something that frustrates a lot of players, is when you're not quite good enough to nail down your own spot, and then you end up going forward, and then a negative forward, then you're a defender one week, and the whole, in your mind, you're happy to play footy, at least I'm in the team, but you're really not getting any better. You're treading water because you can't nail down a spot. Is this just an opportunity now we might see him as a top defender?
Key defender, yeah. I think, he gets to pick his spot at North Melbourne. There's no one really standing in the way in any line.
Well, Aiden Corr's there as their that's their defender.
Ben
McKay.
Yeah. Well, sorry, he's the. So
he's one of the 3, right?
Yeah.
It's an interesting move. I think it's an interesting move for Griffin Logue. It didn't seem like the contracts were poles apart.
Yeah,
I don't know club at the bottom.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's a weird situation.
But maybe he's bought what North Melbourne have got.
Maybe.
Horn Francis, Ben McKay, LDU.
Yeah,
you can start. You can start to see the building.
Yeah, maybe he goes, well, at least I'm not going to sit there for 3 years and cop it.
Yeah, you know exactly what you're going to.
Yeah, maybe they do find that the big losses are gone and they lose by, when they go to Geelong, 10 goals, not 20 goals.
Yeah.
You know, you're 4 goals down at half time or something like that.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a bit more enjoyable and they've done the hard yards.
And that's how Clarko would sell it to him. He'd be like, Mackay and Logue, that's going to be our two guys just anchoring this thing down for the next 6,
Where's
7,
poor old
8
Aidan
years, whatever
Corbell?
it is.
He's got about 8 years left on a
He's
contract.
there. He's there around.
Free
He's
agent
there.
signing.
Yeah.
All right, that's us done. Anything else we need at the table going into? We'll
Me
go
blood-
early tips, eh?
Me bloody dishwasher man's calling me.
Oh, no. He's coming early.
He's early. No, I'm not moving. Not moving.
Let's go early tips for the weekend.
Oh.
Give us go winner margin, Norm Smith.
I'm going to jump in and take Sydney just straight out of the gate.
Is this going to be one of those weeks where everyone's pumping up Sydney when
And
Geelong
And then Geelong do
one of
the
those years.
45.
Yeah.
We've pumped up Sydney. I mean, we've pumped up everyone, really.
Geelong
Geelong
just
have just-
quietly
yeah.
finished with minor premiers
They
and
have.
smacked around
I'm happy to
everyone.
take Sydney in a close game.
Yeah, I'd rather Sydney.
I'm going to go Geelong. And I'm going to go, a player I nominated as to take one out of the team, I'm going to go Tom Hawkins.
Yeah.
Okay.
I reckon, hopefully, and I hope not because he's had the McCartan boys. Hopefully it is a fairy tale for their journey,
Yeah.
but like I just can
I see
see.
Tom Hawkins rip it up.
Yeah.
How funny.
Took 7
Rich-
contested marks in a grand final, Hawk.
Just made me think, Richard Goyder must really love Joel Selwood.
Yeah.
He just dropped his name at the start of handing over the Brownlow medal. Just want to say, well done, Joel Selwood.
He was shaking like a leaf doing that speech last night
Oh,
for
Goyder?
Joel.
Oh, Joel.
For the Jim Steins. Obviously meant something to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was footy. He goes, pre-season was good and
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, it was something away from being a champion footballer.
And he drove up the road for it. You didn't stay. How sad do those like Sydney and Geelong were obviously in a different room? How sad do those little functions?
The
look?
funny thing is, it was a Sunday night and you're going into the. They probably if they were at home, they probably would have a couple of glasses of red.
Yeah. There's a long enough lead in.
Yeah, but
You
when
can't do
you're
it
on
on
TV,
camera.
they're like, no, Dale Thomas.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Remember days he got rolled? Yeah.
Yeah, there weren't too many sometimes there's a little off-camera, like outside of the count stories from the Brownlow nights.
That
There
young
weren't too
Carlton
many of
boy
them.
sculling that beer was taken off TV pretty quickly.
Oh,
He's going to town and they're like, shit, get him off.
And I'll go Sydney as well. And hadn't really thought about them.
If you want a bit of value, Chad Warner's paying $18.
$18 for Norm
for
Smith.
the Norm.
Oh, why
Gamble
not?
responsibly.
He polled all right too.
Yeah.
He polled
Yep.
11 or something.
Good to say.
11, 12.
Yeah, something double digits.
All right, this has been the Hardball Gets AFL show, completely packed for work in the weekend. This podcast was brought to you by the new Mazda BT50 SP. It's the complete package. We'll see you next time.